The Cyclone, ladies and gentlemen, was recently buffed. Here are the post-buff values: the 5th worst detection value at the tier, 2nd most effective hit points, 7th best HE DPM, 10th best AP DPM, the 12th highest torp damage, and the 3rd worst AA DPS. Was the buff needed? Yes. Did it do enough? I don't think it did. All right, here's the Sirocco versus the Cyclone. The Sirocco has 3,000 fewer hit points because the Cyclone has heals. It does about 18,000 less HE DPM, 20,000 less AP DPM. The Sirocco, however, has main battery reload boosters at its disposal. The Sirocco torps do around 3,700 more max damage each. They are 7 knots slower than the buffed Cyclone torpedoes. And the Sirocco is 3 knots faster. Why are we showing a Leone video? All right, we were showing a Leone video, but I removed it. Now we're on Trident in the Cyclone. We are top tier in an epicenter match. So did the buffs to the Cyclone do a difference or make any change? So here's what happened. The main battery reload time was decreased from 10 seconds to 6.5 seconds. Torpedo speed, I talked about this, was increased to 65 knots. And you used to have to choose between a repair party and a smoke. Now you no longer have to choose. They moved the repair party to its own slot. So, do these changes mean a whole lot? Well, let me tell you, in WoW's Build Legends, even though I've illustrated the Cyclone has superior firepower at this point to Sirocco, the Sirocco has the higher damage record by about 30k, if the screen I looked at was correct. And that's because those torps do more damage. At the end of the day, I don't think this is a very good ship still. I think you're going to struggle to get damages over 100,000 in the game with this ship, unless you get really lucky and get a lot of flooding damage, or you get some broadside close range cruisers and you can use your armor piercing. I know it was a free ship as the 4th year reward. And so as more players get their 4th year in the game, they will receive the Cyclone. That being said, the Sirocco is the better ship, hands down. And I know you shouldn't complain about a free premium, but the Cyclone is not good. The buffs were needed. Did they go far enough? No, I don't think they did. I think, I hate to say it, I think this ship needs a main battery reload booster. And maybe you get rid of the smoke screen. I know they want to make it different than the Cyclone. It certainly is different than the Cyclone. A different feel as we're engaging Mitsuki here. You definitely have that. You got heals, you've got a smoke, you've got a speed boost, no main battery reload booster. You got lower damage torpedoes. You got way better gun power. I mean, the Cyclone is kind of the destroyer that they should have introduced in the first place, and maybe had the Sirocco be the reward ship, I guess. The Sirocco is now more really of a torp boat than a gunboat, even though it has the main battery reload booster. So, I mean, to me, if you're going to give one ship a main battery reload booster, that should be the ship with the bad torpedoes. So maybe they give the Sirocco the heals or the smokescreen, one or the other. And I'm not saying take away the main battery reload booster from the Sirocco, but I think the Cyclone still needs one. The Barask probably does more damage than either of these ships in terms of DPM. So here we are engaging Mitsuki. Now, obviously, I've got this really nice French armor piercing and HE. So I'm not going to have any problems lighting up the Mitsuki. It's up when he goes bow on. Not really even worried about damage from other ships, simply because I've got heals, we engage our smoke, and we burn down Mitsuki. And expecting torps from my future, we're going to move out of the way Thankfully, we avoided the torps. We do have torpedoes going in at the Congo. I am going to engage the Congo with some more HE and set them on fire. Still, the bane of this ship is aircraft carrier planes, either or Sirocco Cyclone, so keep that in mind. I mean, just about any French destroyer is very weak to carrier play. Here the Congo smartly turned in. Can't say that I blame him for that. I'm exhorting my teammates to shoot at him. We're continuing to light up the Congo with HE, and my teammates are doing a really good job of shooting him. And because he took a bunch of damage, he straightened it back out. We are moving back in our smoke screen and continuing to shoot into the superstructure, and by doing so may have avoided some fire there. Torpedo reload isn't very great. You know, maybe that's what they should have buffed. The torpedo reload, you know, less damaging torpedoes that shoot more often. I could be down with that. I just don't. I think like many other French destroyers, they tried to fix it and they didn't really fix it, you know. So Congo's dead. Meanwhile, we're getting base caps because all the ships that were in the caps are dead except for me and my teammate who's right next to me. So we're going to take over the epicenter here, which we've already captured, and we're going to move out towards Gangout and see if we can engage Gangout with our torpedoes, which have a really short range and don't do any damage. So yeah, I mean, did the buffs help? In theory, yes. Is this still a really terrible ship? Also, yes. Yep, it's still a terrible ship. All right, Gangout. We're going to shoot torpedoes. The Gangout likes he's thinking about turning. So we're going to anticipate a little bit. And I guess the Gangout is just staying there. Because all the ships that are near me are dead or aiming the other way, I am just going to light up the Gangout here with my guns with impunity. Then I notice Brittany over here, as Thibault would say, or Britannia, and I'm going to shoot at him instead because he's closer, but then I'm anticipating he might shoot back at me, so I'm going to hide behind the island. I don't have torps for a while, so we're just going to have to be content with setting the Britannia on fire. Turning back in, I'm doing that so I can stay in the cap. Are we going to shoot at Gangout? Yes, we will continue to shoot at Gangout. And not a lot to shoot at, but we do get some shells hitting there. The Britannia is not technically shooting at me yet, so I'm going to dipsy-do here to avoid incoming fire from Gangout, which we do, for the most part, avoid. And Britannia is shooting at someone else. Am I going to go for the kill pinch? Of course I am. All right. Can we get that last base cap, please? There is the kill pinch, folks. You wanted it, and I provided it. All right. So we've got 2 kills. We've got our 3rd base cap. 1 solo, 2 assisted base caps. And the blue team is waffle stomping the red team. Had little to do with the Cyclone. You know, you have the ability to finish at the top of the board when you're top tier. But at the end of the day, as a free destroyer, this is still not very good. I still think it should be down at tier 3, as is in its current state, despite the buffs, which were kind of prolific. A 3.5 second reload buff, that's pretty nice. A 7-knot torpedo buff, or 8-knot torpedo buff, pardon me, that's pretty nice. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't make the ship more powerful. Can't get around the fact that it has middling ability to cause damage. It has low ability to cause damage with its torpedoes. It's very visible. It has a lot of hit points. So does the Sims, you know, or the Charles F. Hughes. I think it's actually the Sims. Sims has a lot of hit points, but that doesn't mean it's a good destroyer. So you're going to struggle to do lots of damage. Unless you get that. A full salvo 4 torpedo strike, dev strike on the enemy ship. All right, here, because I have no common sense, we're just going to engage Gangout with some of my guns, not all of them. We are taking incoming fire. We do have heals. We set a fire on the Gangoot, and we were continuing to shoot, but unfortunately for me, I'm not going to get that 4th kill. All right. So here we are on the victory screen, 79,790. Total damage, a dev strike, 4 torpedo strikes, 3 big kills, 6 fires, 1 solo, and 2 assisted base caps. We ended up with 6,200 ship XP, 6,500 commander XP, and just over 266,000 silver in the Cyclone. And we're running Louis Violette because basically they made it worthless as anything other than a gunboat. So that's why we're doing it. 2272 base XP, 1 medal, 3 big kills. Top of the board for the blue team. And what can I say? It's not a great match, but it's the Cyclone, so you shouldn't expect a great match. Like I said, I think there are only 2 games in WoW's builds for the damage record that are over 100,000 damage. The other 2 games are under 100,000 damage. So not a lot of people have been having a lot of luck in the ship in terms of causing damage because it has low damage torpedoes. All right, looking at the ship again, we got aiming system mod 1. Smoke generator by itself now, used to be shared with the heal, and you could pick one or the other. The engine boost and the repair party, now they're all separate, so that's good. And like I said, yeah, they split the repair party out to the 4th slot. Rare battle booster for movement speed and cooldown time, Type 9 permanent camo, and the 4-year flag. All right, taking a look at the specs, 11,700 hit points with our build. All the way in on these 4 130 millimeter guns, 11 kilometer firing range, 6.5 second reload. It used to be 10 seconds. That's mind blowing. 2050 max HE shell damage with a 9% fire chance, 2450 max AP shell damage. 2 triple tube launchers reload every 84 seconds. Max damage 12,233. The Sirocco does 16,000, best at the tier for that max torp damage. And just a 6 kilometer range at 65 knots. I think the Sirocco is 7 kilometer range. AA defense, really terrible. Maneuverability, it's not especially fast either. 30.9 knots, maybe the slowest ship at the tier. 560 meter turning circle, 3.4 second rudder shift time. Concealment 5.3 on the surface, 2.9 from the air, 2.3 when firing in smoke. Here's the stats. We played 3 games since the buff, and we have a 50% winning percentage. The main battery is pretty accurate at 59%. Our kill-death ratio is 1.3, and the game you just saw is our best game ever in this really crappy destroyer. So I'll put up my old game, and you can see how terrible it was in the OG, and then watch this game and say, wow, it did a whole lot. Here's the commander. I was using maybe a Bueno last time. I'm using Violette now. Swirsky and Bays are inspirations, and then just a standard French. We don't have a gunboat commander build with quick fix. The heavily nerfed go all out. Perceptive, and what's this last skill called? Sidestep, which is probably the best skill in the skill tree, and then Unstoppable. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe below. The buffed Cyclone, still not very impressive.